The Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences has decided to award Sveriges Riksbanks Prize in Economic Sciences in memory of Alfred Nobel for 2024 to Darren Acemoglu, MIT, Cambridge, USA, Simon Johnson, MIT, Cambridge, USA, and James Robinson, University of Chicago, USA, for studies of how institutions are formed and affect prosperity.
The work of those who won the 2024 Nobel Prize in Economics started off from one fundamental question: why are some nations wealthy and others aren't? In a series of papers, the three winners highlight how economic and political institutions actually determine the prosperity of nations. The trio's research explains that colonization has shaped the institutional structures of many countries and hence can explain their prosperity or the lack of it even today.
Their work takes advantage of this natural experiment in history, and you're right, this is hundreds of years in the past. But it demonstrates that the institutions formed then actually persist in quality to today. So it tells us that good institutions, inclusive institutions, democratic institutions are important for prosperity today.
Their insights show us that work on promoting democracy, more inclusive institutions, is an important way forward for promoting economic development and closing the world income gap.
Basically, they go back to how European colonizers changed institutions in the countries that they came to. There were two approaches that they made. One was in countries where disease was a mortal threat and it was unsuitable for settling. There they created extractive institutions with the objective of transferring maximum resources to their home country. Here they put large labor forces to work in mines and plantations and took over the existing tax system of these prosperous countries. For example, India was among the richest civilizations back then, and this system worked for the British here. However, in countries that were less developed like North America, New Zealand and Australia, colonizers chose to settle in such countries, establishing strong property rights and checks on the government. And these institutions in many ways continued even after they left. Simply put, in the second kind of countries, there were inclusive policies, incentives and opportunities for economic development and protection of property rights. And this ensured economic prosperity in the long run. Whereas in countries like, say, India, where the British set up extractive institutions, these were inimical to investment and growth, and they disincentivized productive endeavors. Institutions in these countries were made to only give short-term gains for those in power. Consistent with these arguments, the authors document an association between institutions and economic prosperity across nations. And they show that countries that were relatively richer prior to European colonization are poorer today and vice versa. Basically, they used colonization by the British as an example to show how this exogenous shock to the existing economic system affected institutions and hence prosperity in these nations. With wealth inequality rising both across and within nations, this gives policymakers a clear message on the importance of better and more inclusive institutions for better economic growth. Hope you found this video informative. For more such content, keep watching Mint.